Now I have to ask myself what I can make here. And I rather eat my own food than, that's often what other people cook. Because I know that I'm cooking in the spirit. Creating a good meal. Okay, now I have to ask myself what I'm actually making. Alright, let's turn off the music. Well, actually, I'm just gonna leave it chirping somewhere in the distance. Just like most people that I could ever have imagined spending time with, until I realized I have no real interest in people. I mean, I have to a certain degree. Okay, this is going to be not a 3-course meal. It's going to be added upon. First of all, yeah, I forgot my salt. Somewhere down at the bottom. Of Vega and Altair or something, which is an album from La Dispute, which I used to listen to a lot more. Okay, first, I need more salt. Second, this is just flour. Right, if people want you to be the sick one, are you gonna accept it? Because let's face it, everyone's twisted in their minds. And anyone who thinks that you're sick is sick himself. He's just likes to project it onto you. To have the feeling that he's doing much better. Which is why I simply started to live my life and seclude myself from everyone who thinks that, you know, I've lost it. Well, their entire life is a reflection of, right? I mean, if you worship people like Sting, it's like worshipping a little child stuck in his teens. And then we come to, right, maybe Tash Sultana, who clearly lost it. She should have just kept recording music in her bedroom or living room. Should have stayed true to herself. instead of getting dragged on giant stages. Right? You should learn to also worship yourself a little. Worship yourself a little. And that's what I mean, right? That's what we all should learn a little, to worship ourselves. And that's a fact. You need a basic understanding of who you are in order to get anywhere in life. And most people lose that when people suddenly think, oh yeah, she's gonna make my life a more enriching experience. And then they stop doing things themselves and they just sit around listening to others' vibe. Right, so you have to be where you are. But I have a hard time doing that, right? People are super toxic. If I give too much, they start to reject it anyway. If I give too little, they forget I exist. Are we all something like deities or gods? It's just that you have to have the time to figure out what you forgot. Well, it's hard to say, right? I don't know, man. Well, a god needs to be worshipped. So I believe a god is anyone who's looking for attention. And when you get the attention, then energy is starting to flow into you, because we are all beings that survive somehow because of attention. And if you pay attention to yourself, then what that ultimately means is that in a way you feed and nourish yourself. This is black cardamom, one of the best spices I have discovered. So this tea is black tea rooibos. Rooibos with spices though. I think bitter gourd. I'm gonna put bitter gourd into this. Plus I'm gonna make myself some mint tea if the mint is still edible. Right, if I knew what bitter gourd is, I don't know, it's just something bitter. Plus, this is like medicine, right? You know, if it doesn't taste nice, what's it matter? It's for your spirit. It's for your spirit. And if you cannot figure out what I've been trying to tell you, then what am I supposed to do about it? I mean, it should be your responsibility to figure out what you're missing. I'm just showing you what I do when I feel like things are missing. I start cooking, right? I start working on concepts about slow food, which is why, you know, right now I'm in a hurry. Okay, so this is rice. Just gonna soak it already. So I'm gonna cook a meal so that when I come back tomorrow from the hike, all I have to do is heat it up. Okay, that's two different types of rice. This is Thai glutinous rice. Oh, it's sticky rice. Well, to me it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna keep it soaking for a bit. Then I'm going to, I don't know. I'm constantly hoping I'm being transferred somewhere else, because this is clearly not working for me. People aren't working with me. I cannot help people who are reluctant to change, who think smoking is the way to go, who have no clue about anything, who simply fail to see the value of their inner child. So I simply stay away. I simply say, well, I gave you all fair warning, right? I'm just gonna do my own thing then. You know, tough, too bad, right? You could have had somebody but you wanted to see me dead. Now I'm just going to be very distant. Very distant. Just focus on myself. Create content and then prepare myself for the next hike. Okay, so this just needs to be heated up once. Everybody thinks they ought to be worshipped, you know. What makes you so special? You know, what makes you so special? Nothing. Nothing makes you special. What makes you so special, right? Everyone thinks they ought to be worshipped. There's nothing special about you, right? So, this is broccoli. No, this is cauliflower. I'm gonna prepare that in the oven. So it's just time to focus on my own show. And I really mean it that I've tried to help people. I've tried to show people that they're just phony. But phony people don't like to be shown that they're phony. Because they build an entire existence on being phony. If you know what I'm saying. And I know what I'm saying because I'm saying it. And I've been saying this for a very long time. And that's all I can say about it. I will not ask people. If they want something, then they have to come. And that's the truth, the sad truth about whatever we think enlightenment is. So I'm just going to bring this to a boil. No. People think they can, right? They can tame a kshatriya. A true kshatriya cannot be tamed. I'm just saying, right? I'm not gonna give in that easily. That's all I can say. I mean, you thought I was? Well, because you're weak. You just see life from your perspective, which is a perspective of weakness, right? So you think, you know, if I was you, you know, I would have given in. Yeah, because you're weak. Mentally, physically, spiritually, you're weak. You know, all facets of your life are a representation of weakness. And that's why you think other people should be as weak as you. But I could never be as weak as you because I'm a survivor. I actually like the struggle. You don't get that. How some people like the struggle, right? Some people like it, that it's hard. And most people just don't get it. You know, if you find a woman that is hard to love, well then, right? You either manage or you give up. You either manage or you give up, you know? What else is there to say about it? You either manage or you give up. There is no, oh, I couldn't do it. Well, because then, you know, that's just words. You didn't do it. But you say I couldn't do it. Yeah, nice excuse, bro. Nice excuse, you know. It says nothing other than that you're weak, right? If you make an appointment and you fail to show up, but I show up, then you lost. Okay, brought it to a boil, check. Put that to the side. I'm still trying to... Ah, wait, I'm not gonna cook with this. I mean, it's just ridiculous how people think everyone should be as weak as them so they can merge back into the slumber of unconscious living. It's like, well, I figured it out. Why can't you, right? What's your excuse to be weak? What's your excuse to be a wuss? What's your excuse for sitting around, you know, watching online streaming? Okay, this is tea. Oh, wow. Okay, that was just that. Okay, some of it already needs to be sorted out. But I find this very okay. I mean, I just slept a lot. I ate and I slept, and tomorrow I have a big hike. So question, why do I go on these big hikes? To free myself of anyone who thinks, in a sense, they know better. Okay, this to me still is alright. And this is basically most everyone. Right? This is like people who act like parents. Because who's your parent? In a spiritual way, well, that's nature, isn't it? Right? That's nature. And then you can worship, right, people like NF, right, wearing weird shoes somewhere on an island, probably afraid to touch the water. Well, that's how close you allow yourself to get to her, right? That's the closest you manage? Okay, you know? Probably never spoke to you in a dream then. Well, she did to me. She was asking for help. And she's a woman. A woman, yeah? A real woman. Davy Jones never managed to love her. Because it's hard, man. Right? He wanted something out of it. It wasn't enough for her to just... You know, it wasn't enough for him to just be in the sea and love her. He could have done this for the rest of his life. You know, that would have been the sex. You know, he said she didn't show up, but she did. I mean, I get it, it's hard. I mean, if that's the course my life is taking, whew, I mean, I can only say it's gonna be tough. You know, if I'm just gonna be by myself for a very long time without anything, like no softness, no woman, well then that's how it needs to be, right? Then that's how it needs to be, because I clearly thought that life was something else. You know, I thought it had to be a certain way until I realized that, you know, there's just angry spirits forcing others by mass manipulation to worship them, and then they just suck them dry. And that's, again, right, once more, depending on where you are, at what stage of your life, you know, that's the dark crystal for you. That's the story of the dark crystal, and that is modern times. You'll never get life out of your smartphone. You'll never get life out of a screen, because life, you know, that's the life you'll get looking into screens. That's the life you'll get if you keep living like this. I mean, I have asked many people if they are willing to join. They don't want to, right? They don't want to. Okay, I'm not Gandhi then, right? I'm just not Gandhi. Different times, right? Gandhi was not in a position where there were people stuck in smartphones, right? That's everyone. Everyone these days is just stuck in a smartphone. So if you're struggling against that because they think, well, I don't need you because, you know, I have all these friends, you know, I can watch movies. I mean, in that sense, Gandhi probably had it relatively easy because there were less ways of escape. Which means that he just had to walk around and ask people, hey, do you have time? And they're like, yeah, sure. Because nobody said, wait, there's that movie that I'm gonna watch. Nobody said that. So he could just do his own thing, right? And then ask people to join him. And he got a lot of credit for that. And so I just decided once more to simply realize, well, this is apparently the way things are right now. I am absolutely going to stop, right, what I thought I was doing. I'm not going to help anyone anymore just like that. I mean, I'm going to create content for I don't know how long. And then I'm just going to continue to move on and push through. And maybe from your perspective that sounds a bit like giving up, but it's not. Why is it not? Well, it is not for the reason that it's not giving up. It's choosing actually myself. Once again. That's all. And people just don't get that. Because I don't want to be stuck in your hell. So I cannot choose your hell. It's your hell. You live it, you know. Then live it. Right? But you're the one creating it. Right? And when I get to see you, you know, you try to debate it. Because that's the hell you're stuck in. And I'm stuck in hell because I'm stuck at talking to people like you. And that's really annoying. Okay. I'm just gonna make this a very, very rich meal. Okay, I want lentils, dal, simple. Just gonna take this, no, not this part. I'm gonna take this part. Okay, so distance. You just have to distance yourself to do what you would like to do. Right, rinse the lentils. See, I don't have to show you everything. This is just a reminder that some people are actually cooking out there, right? But there are people who are actually struggling. I mean, I'm not talking about wailing for freedom or something. Okay, these are still okay. Okay, okay. 2 are enough. I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? Okay, I've got mint now. I'm just gonna add cinnamon. And a bit of black tea. I mean, a bit, what's a bit? That's a bit. And because right now I'm fond of simply using what I've been given. You know, this is like the yogi tea thing. What does it say? Love has no fear and no vengeance. I think it has. I think it has. I think love has all of these things. And that's what I'm working with. So I don't like these stupid sayings. No, the other one says, laughter is the same in every language. Yeah, I can laugh for pleasure. I can laugh because I actually see the joke. But there's also empty laughter. So it's not the same in every language. Unless you say everything's the same in every language. So in order to be this energetic, I have to rest a lot. And then I have to take charge again. And so tomorrow I know I'll be hiking. This has to go into my hat, so it stays warm longer. Okay. The fountain. Yeah, the fountain man. You know, if you activate, if you start looking at the box of Pandora, and all the demons come out, right? All your demons, and you start working with them. Right, and you figure out your diet, and you start smiling more, you start leading a richer existence. Well, what's gonna happen? Well, have you looked at the world recently? I can tell you what's gonna happen. People are going to blame you for everything. Right? They're going to blame you for everything. They're going to say it's your fault that there's bad weather. And then your answer should be, what's bad weather? I mean, go to a forest. Ask a deer. Hello, Mr. Deer. What do you think bad weather is? And the deer's going to look at you and be on its way. So, you know, that's truth. What are you talking about, man? If I stand here talk to you, I'm gonna get eaten by a predator, and that's probably you. And that's then humans acting like they're super nice. I mean, we're predators. Acting like we're not. Right? We're just predating on each other because we're too weak to actually fight for our survival. Because now we've got machines, and that's clearly what has happened. Right? This is what has been happening. And if you talk about these things, people are like, oh no, don't say that. It's too much. I cannot take it. What do you mean you cannot take it? You know, it's out in the open. It's so plain to see. What do you mean? Oh, please don't say it. You know, I don't want to take responsibility. I just want to play. Yeah, but if you play, you know, you're gonna get used for somebody else's pleasure. You know, that's like, you know, a predator, sometimes predators play with their prey, right? So if you worship empty words, then you're the prey. And you're being predated on because your energy is being eaten by whatever is, right? Turning it into money and then acting like, you know, it's giving you value. You know, this is clearly about transcending what you could call ordinary reality, but what I would call ordinary reality is actually exactly that. You know, it's simply the way it is. You cannot deny that. It's just that you've closed your spiritual eye for a bit of fun, right? To forget, you know, that you're being harvested. It's like you just awoke from the Matrix and then you're like that, what was his name again? Who thought that ignorance was bliss? No, it isn't. You know what bliss is? If you stop ignoring and you work with your concepts of fear and you start strengthening your body, your mind, and your soul all at the same time through the way you live, you eat, by breathing. So ignorance is bliss. I mean, what does that mean? Ultimately, it means, you know, you smoke, and although you know that smoking is really bad for you, you simply ignore. That's what ignorance is, actively choosing to ignore, ignoring the consequences that smoking has, which is already, you know, being depicted on the packages you buy, depending on where you live, of course. And then, you know, you can smoke and actively choose to ignore the side effects of smoking simply because you feel safe doing that, right? Because that's what you can do with yourself. That's the most you can do with yourself. Well, I'd say, well, why can't you do something else? I mean, smoking is like the easiest thing you can do with yourself. You know, it's like sleeping or taking a shit. You know, smoking, sure, it needs some practice, but if you look at it, I mean, there's no real skill to it because it's a symptom of ignorance. I mean, you're just choosing to be an idiot, and I'm supposed to look up to you for that? Oh yeah, I'm consciously choosing to be an idiot. Oh wow, you know. What are you talking about? You know, what's the point? Well, yeah, I mean, if I'm honest about it, I actually just wanted to die. And I thought that was the safest way out of here. Yeah, you know, At least be honest and say that. Oh yeah, wait, you've been saying it through your actions. Good choice. Because I already saw that. I already saw that. But most people, they just ignore that also. They just never say anything. They just let you do the smoking. I probably annoy you with, hey, smoking is really bad for you, You think it makes you look cool? You're looking really stupid, my friend. And that's why people generally stay away from me, because they don't like this. They want to be ignorant, And in the end, I'm going to be there, look at you, and, my look is going to say, tja, you could have done much better. But apparently you could not. And that's also a hard truth, because you thought you were doing good. And now, I stopped smoking and I simply started to do yoga. Plus, I have years of experience in cooking, which I picked up by myself. And that's also an active choice. Nobody forced you. This is bay leaves to stay where you are. Nobody forced you to stay where you are. Nobody forced you to stay where you are. You stayed here because you wanted to. Right? You stayed here because you wanted to. You can never blame these things just on the circumstances of your life. You cannot say that I've had it easy. Right? You cannot say that I've had it easy. Because a lot of families where there's a lot of money also means that there ain't a lot of social stuff. And that's a tough one as well. Because a lot of children that get raised into families that are like, aspiring to be middle class or something, or to do better financially, have to sacrifice the emotional part. And that is what I'm trying to teach my father, that it ain't just about the money, right? You have to have, you have to be able to see value in life. To see value in a living tree, because dead things will never make you feel fulfilled or complete. It's just gonna be dead, just like your car, your phone, your screens. So yeah, people can watch my stuff and they can say, why is he playing computer games? Because there's people who play computer games also. And while that's happening, I feel like, I can catch you off guard, right? Or I can talk about very complicated topics and then play at the same time. So for me, it's also training my mind. I mean, sure, it's better to lead a life that's self-contained, but if I have to cook, then I also have to take the time to explain certain things to you, which are simply basic knowledge. This is basic knowledge. This is just, that's how it is. Exactly, that's how it is. No, you cannot talk yourself around that. No, just like Mad God is just junk. Right? The guy who created it, he clearly thought that he was responsible for Star Wars' success. But he just added one part of it. Now he wanted more credit. It's just shit. I mean, it's just gore. Everything's eating. Okay, in a way it's nature, right? But it's too much gore. There's nothing actually beautiful in there. So why couldn't he show that? Because he never managed to transcend it. Right? So how can you worship such a thing? I'm actually struggling. I'm asking myself, should I still go into movies? Well, apparently not. Or maybe yes. Because my life is constantly giving me the feeling that nothing's gonna happen just like that. Which is why, in a way, I'm trapped in leading somehow an ordinary existence. But I'm still trying to get away from this place. Because I'm still feeling like I'm trapped. Which is why I'm simply going to grow so that if everything starts falling away, you know, I can just try to live off the land. And then I can just try to live in the forest. So I'll just get used to the forest in some way, and maybe I'll manage to survive, right? So if my father would decide to stop, you know, funding the apartment, you know, then I just leave, right? And if he'd be okay with that, you know, okay. Maybe I'll appear somewhere else, but clearly not here anymore. And that's simply a tough lesson. But if I live like this, then everything's suddenly really quiet. And that's what I need for myself. I just need a bit of quiet time. Okay, so I don't have to explain to you how to cook. I'm just cooking, right? And you either cook or you don't. So my intention is not to always give you all these amazing, super long cooking sessions. My intention is to simply show that I'm cooking, that I've learned how to cook. You have to learn cooking by yourself. So you have to look for recipes, and then you have to actually make the experience of cooking by cooking. If you know what I'm saying, right? So you have to take the time, cook, in order to learn how to cook. You have to buy a book, and I can only guide you to the Hare Krishna book of vegetarian cooking, which in German is called Vedische Kochkunst, right? I have been doing that already a couple of times. It's basic stuff. You just have to do it, and this is how you learn cooking, right? This is just an inspiration. This is not a good way to learn cooking. A good way to learn cooking is by cooking. I mean, you can watch people how they cook, but ultimately you have to start making experiences and then pay attention so you don't cut yourself, you know, that kind of stuff, you know? Right? Cooking is in a way also suffering, because if I cut myself or I have a little cut here and I'm cutting chili, right? Suddenly it's like, burns like fire, man. Right? And that's all I'm saying. Anything you do is potentially, you know, can potentially injure you. Everything. And that's what I truly believe. Anything, you know, could potentially injure you. That's opening up to people, right? That's all kinds of things. I simply say I'd rather leave that on the internet. Leave community service to people who actually like that. You just add a ginger to the tea, right? So, and now I'm just gonna add a bit more ginger. So you see your life as a challenge and you start growing. You know, I've shown them enough that I can do things. But at the moment I feel like I'm just going to focus on my own personal development. I want to spend more time in nature. But for that I have to work off YouTube. And then I can simply, right, do other things. So maybe this year is also a lot about being on the inside. So I'm just gonna continue to record this, and then maybe for 2026, right, I'm gonna be more outside. And then this year I'm more on the inside. And this is how I can make plans and then continue moving ahead into the future and simply recording, right, content. Until I no longer remember why I started in the first place. Well, I started in the first place because nobody wanted to join me and I simply had to figure out myself. But I also get to the point where I reject everyone. I simply reject everyone, and that's crazy. But I also have a reason to reject everyone. Okay, this I'm just gonna break up. This is super easy. I could also keep it, do it tomorrow, but I rather do it now. I'm first going to just put it in the oven. Sometimes it actually is nice to just break stuff up with your hands, right? To get your hands in there. And to simply see. Right, so this is also where I talk about, you know, spending time with a woman. If you are with your woman, then, you know, touching her, holding her, making her feel you is an essential part. What I was often missing is, right, the giving back part. And that's just what I'm saying. And seeing everybody so selfish. But if I'm selfish, then I should just be alone. So this is an interesting way of cooking food. Oh yeah, I forgot the garlic. And then this is just gonna go in the oven, just for now. Okay, first in the oven. Which I have to turn on. So if light's blocking you everywhere, then you have to make a stare down. A stare down is it's like facing off snakes, facing off. I like garlic. I think the garlic's gonna come with the cauliflower though. For that, I'll first focus on this. So facing off snakes, right? Is anyone in your surrounding, because you're a snake as well. But you know, that's what the Kundalini is clearly talking about. Some people just like to identify with their shadow more because they think it makes them feel powerful, while if you focus on your shadow too much, right, because it's just one part of creation, so you focus only on your shadow and you neglect your light, or your inner child is kind of like going to die. And right, your inner child is simply going to die if you do that, if you lead such a life. So yesterday I felt sick. Now I'm starting to feel a bit better. Yeah, I'm just gonna make this meal worthwhile, because I cannot always. Right now I've got the fat, I'm gonna use it, just make it one nice meal. On this pancake thingy I made earlier, I added the tzatziki, but I also added, these are cooking bananas, like I said. They're different. If you take the really green ones, then they stay quite firm. And they're nice for curries. This is just gonna add sweet taste. It's a super nice addition to any curry. I mean, there's areas where there's just nothing. I'm just saying. And then you just have to use what you have in order to survive, right? Okay, with the rice, I'm gonna let that soak a little. It's part of my slow food. And then I'm going to make a marinade for the stuff in the oven. And I've done that before, so I'm drawing a lot from experience. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to show you how to cook rice, but you should be able to do that on your own, right? I trust that you will know how to cook rice. And whether that's basmati rice or jasmine rice or any other rice, I'm sure you will figure it out. You can also, this meal also goes with potatoes. But I'll focus on, I've shown you how to make curries before, right? Spices. This is all cardamom, cloves. Clearly turmeric, maybe clearly cumin. Yeah, I don't need more heat. Already got that. Cumin. I clearly prefer cumin seeds over powder. If I'd have coriander, I'd add that. everyone wants to be in a position of power. Everyone, I'm telling you. But if you've got something to give, they'll come by themselves. So sometimes it's better to just do your own thing and keep growing, right? So I've been letting go a lot of people in favor of just doing my own thing. So these are cloves and cumin. A lot of essential oils, right? You don't have to buy clove oil, you can just buy cloves. I'm gonna eat them. Right? Because healing starts within. Right? Rather focus on your diet than trying to cleanse your aura with oils, you know? Because this is more like witchcraft. Well, this is in a way too. You can say I'm like a herbologist. I know things, and that's my inner shaman. And I simply acknowledge this. And I take responsibility for the me that likes to do this. Okay, so I have time. Okay, all I need to show you is this, right? The rough instructions for this food. Now I'm gonna create a marinade. Yeah, I mean, I have tried working with others, but other people always think they know better. Always. And it's just very annoying because you can clearly see that they do not know better. So sometimes you just have to let them fall until they realize that they actually have no idea what they're doing. Right? But as long as people follow them or act like we're friends, I mean, a lot of people have nothing going for themselves. Right? They just pride themselves that they're good at smoking. Yeah. What a thing to teach, you know, like a father. It's just gonna ruin him. I'm just saying. So my life has been a lot about exposing liars, people who act like they've got something, but never figure it out. So cooking is hard. You know, not everyone gets it. It's hard work. And the difference is starting to show. So we're not friends. We've never been friends. I'm struggling. I'm a survivor. And so you cannot loom it over me. You know that I owe you something. Because I don't owe you anything. Because you never helped me at all. So I had to do everything by myself. But you think you helped me. You didn't help me. The only thing you showed me was that you have no idea what you're talking about. You're just putting up an act. And you're apparently very good at that, because you're a trained liar, just like everyone else. And that's simply the way it is. And so I'm just biding my time, right? I'm not giving in certain things. I'm just biding my time. So I'd say never do a course in shamanism. You cannot train shamanism. And if so, then you cannot ask money for it. Because a shaman that knows what he's doing should also be able to provide for himself. And that's a fact. I'm just saying because there have been these sponsored links. I mean, if you pay for advertisement, then you're trying to outwit survival of the fittest. If you'd be good, people would talk about it, right? Okay, now I'm going to chop this really fine. Rinse this. Yeah, I cannot give you exact measurements, man. This is just years of training. I'd rather motivate you to get it right for yourself than acting like you have to get this the first time. I mean, there's instructions on the lentil package that tell you how much water you have to put in there. And if you're using, you know, proper recipes, you get that. I'm teaching intuitive cooking. You know, this is the meal that I felt like cooking today. Right? I'll never cook the same thing again. Okay, that's actually only half true. I would cook the same thing again. Of course I would cook the same thing again, but it won't be the same thing because it's going to be different energy. Okay, so right, it's making the most of the experience of being alone. However painful it appears to be, it's a form of liberation. Now think about the Avatar series, if you have watched it, where Guru Patik is telling Aang to let go of Katara, and then he says, but I don't get that. You know, I thought we were supposed to be together, you know, 3 chakras ago. It was supposed to be a good thing. And now I'm supposed to let her go. Well, the letting go part is about not clinging to the image you have of her. Right? But to say maybe Katara needs to do her own personal development, plus as the, you know, when you look at Avatar Korra, how it turned out, Aang died fairly early and left Katara behind, so it was probably a good thing to let her go, because, you know, his time was over. If you're too clingy, then you depend on each other. And that's in a sense what I find, in a way, annoying, but also liberating. I mean, I find it annoying because, right, in a way I'd like to be like everyone else. But liberating because I can figure out who I am. And then you can say, well, wait, have I been given the time or did I take it? well, at some point there just wasn't anything else to do anymore. This is sadhana. This acknowledges the fact that you're spirit doing spiritual work. Why you're doing spiritual work? Well, because you're a spirit. And that means you're a being of energy, which is why you have to respond to the times and think of the children, because that's what we are supposed to do, right? Think of the next generations. So, but then as humans, it's also different, right? Because it's complicated. There are so many layers and levels and so many concepts, and it's so easy to lose yourself in creation, because in that sense, yes, we are creator gods. But look at what we've created. I mean, it's just junk. We literally created impatience. I mean, you want to die really fast? Well, keep smoking, right? You're gonna lead a miserable life, never know how it feels like to be free and to breathe. But, you know, freedom of choice. As long as you choose this, you know, this is going to be your reality. And that's all I can say. You can keep reading books, and you'll never know how it is to go hiking for hours. Right? You have to actually choose to live this thing. No. Right? So you're in a prison inside your mind. And then you go to a zoo and you look to animals and say, oh, how bad he has it, you know? Why can't he be free? Well, what do you mean? Are you free? I mean, you visit, because you're afraid of these animals, you look at them from a zoo. You could be going back into nature, but here you are paying money to see animals. So you're sucking up to the illusion, or to the delusion. Now that this is how life is supposed to be. Okay, this, I'm not sure if this is going to cook above. Okay. Just going to So yeah, people buy a KitchenAid, and then they were the first to buy one, and then they try to get other people to buy a KitchenAid, and I'll just say, well, you're too lazy to hone your skills. You'd rather leave it up to a machine. Yeah, super stupid. I'd rather suffer and struggle until I have the energy to cook a good meal than to leave it up to a machine to cook for me. Yeah, that's simply how I see it. Okay? Well, lots of empty promises. Okay, now I'm just gonna use olive oil, because that's what I have at the moment. But I'm also going to mix in a bit of coconut fat, just because it's a bit cheaper. I just feel like this meal should be a bit fatty. In a way, I've been neglecting my diet for some time. So there's this term, it's called blood magic. It sounds worse than it is. And I feel like red wine is a part of it. Mulled red wine. Okay, I'm just first going to let this cook. Okay, this is basically, you know the drill, right? Because the time's almost up. I'm not gonna add on top of this. Okay, this is salt. I usually use salt without fluoride. Okay. Garam masala. Masala was from the Ben-Hur story. Okay, I've clearly improved my cooking. Has gotten much clearer. So usually if you cook vegetables in the oven, you know, maybe 30 minutes, 180 degrees. It really depends on the oven. It depends on your settings. Do you have like a fan in there? So you have to fiddle around. You see, this is lots of garlic, oil, fat, salt, garam masala spice blend. Okay? This is probably going to take about 40 minutes. I'm going to add coconut cream, and then I'm going to eat this later with rice. Okay, you put this on top, swirl these things around in it. Oh wow, I love the smell of garlic. So I'm cooking this for tomorrow. Possibly. Okay, this I will. Okay, now I have to just swirl it around. So yeah, people reject me because I'm better than them at everything. I'm better at talking, I'm better at positioning myself, I'm better at everything. I'm better at dreaming, I'm better at flowing, right? I'm better at living in general. And for that, right, they feel betrayed because they never spend time figuring it out for themselves. This is pepper. It's a blend, different peppers from Jordan that I still carry with me. So I like to use, right? I don't like to keep these things standing around. I just use them instead of holding on, right? Oh. Ooh, this is hot, 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 hot. Okay, I'll just set it to 20 minutes. 180 degrees Celsius. So that already had roughly 20 minutes. And then, like I said, you can eat this with rice, you can eat it with oven potatoes, you can eat it with mashed potatoes, you can eat it with, if you want, like couscous, right? I mean, this can be in all kinds of ways. Okay. I'm not gonna add everything. Why not? Because I can use some of it to make hot chocolate, for instance. Because it doesn't have to be overly full. Plus this needs a bit more water, I can see it. Okay. Cauliflower. You know, I like it also if it gets a bit charred. '68 super crude. Right? If you're burning like the sun, only few people can get close to you. And that's what I'm really saying. I have tested this. If you burn like the sun, few people will be able to get close to you. And that's the truth that I have discovered for my own life. Okay. Salt. Right, that was like 3 pinches. So yeah, if you've been sitting a lot, then your lower back is probably broken. Repairing that is going to take a lot of time. Okay. So occasionally stirring the cauliflower, this, right, until it's like nice and cooked. That's all. And then I'll keep soaking the rice and I'll cook it tomorrow. I think I'll replace the water now and then tomorrow I'm going to cook it and make a new experience with cooking soaked rice. Okay, it's gonna take the filtered water. Just like that. I don't know yet how it's gonna turn out. It's probably gonna be a bit runny. but I'll test it. I'll see. Because if it's getting too runny, you can keep cooking it. I don't know, maybe it's gonna turn interesting. Okay. Okay, this is how it is with me. Right? I'll just leave the rest up to you. Cheers.